I'm Mara Montalbano, digital reporter and producer for InsideEdition.com, and we're here in the suburbs of Boston, Massachusetts, because this is where Susan Taraskiewicz lived.
Taraskiewicz was a Northwest Airlines baggage handler at Logan Airport. Her body was found in the trunk of her car in Revere, a day and a half after she had left the airport to get sandwiches for coworkers. Investigators have pursued several leads.
It went from 3 different jobs, boarding. She did cleaning the planes, but she wanted to get on the ramp so bad. And the thing that she liked the most was de-icing the planes. So she fought for the job for 3 years. They gave it to another male employee that could not do the job. She was more qualified. She fought for 3 years and got it, and she got all her back pay for it. She handled it very well. She'd come home and say, I handled 100,000 bags today, or whatever. It's not a job I wanted her to do. And I told her that I didn't think as a female, especially back then, it was a job for women. But she said that's what she wanted to do. And I said, well, as long as you're careful, and remember, you are a female. She said the men gave her a very hard time. A lot of times they didn't want to do anything, and she'd get stuck doing it. And she said it really aggravated her because she knew they just didn't want her as the boss.
I first learned about Susan Taraskiewicz back in the 90s. I saw her story featured on Unsolved Mysteries.
April 1989, Logan Airport, Boston. In the airline industry, 24-year-old Sue Taraskiewicz was something of a trailblazer.
I was about 12 or 13 at the time, and yeah, I was that kind of kid who watched Unsolved Mysteries and America's Most Wanted and things like that. Even though I first heard about Susan's story when I was a child, I never fully forgot it. And then I started thinking about her a few years ago when the Me Too movement started to happen. I found someone who would know Susan's family on Facebook, and they were kind enough to put me in touch with her mother, Marlene. And once I got in touch with Marlene, she was more than happy to tell me anything I wanted to know about Sue and her case.
I got in my car and went to Saugus Police Station. Went into the police station, and a female officer asked what she could do for me. I said, I'm here to report my daughter missing. The phone rang. She excused herself and came back and said, Mrs. Taraskiewicz, we found your daughter. We've lived in Saugus 32 years, so we knew the chief of police. She said, you need to go in. We went in, he sat down, he said, Marlene, I have bad news. Susan was found in the trunk of her car. I said, what do you mean? He said, Susan was murdered.
So Marlene is very open to talking about Susan. She does get emotional every now and then when you ask her certain things, but most of all, she really wants to keep Susan's memory alive, and she wants to find out who did this to her daughter. So the last time Susan was seen alive, she was working an overnight shift at the airport. It was around either 11 p.m. or midnight when she decided that she was going to leave to go get food for the crew, but she left and she never came back. And no one ever said anything about her not coming back. No one notified upper management that Sue didn't come back. They did punch her time card for her, but it wasn't until the following day that Sue was supposed to report to work and she didn't show up that they finally notified someone that Sue might be missing.
I found a diary where she had jotted down a lot of things, you know, what they were doing and things like that. And that's when it started to really escalate.
April 12th, 1989. He came into the break room and threw my radio into the wall, smashing it into several pieces. He came back into the room, saw that it still worked, and again threw it into the wall, this time permanently damaging it. What's the matter? Is your little punk boyfriend gonna beat me up? He's lucky I didn't kill him. Another coworker said I should drop the situation about the radio, or he would spread rumors that I was a slut and had a bad reputation. Other people also warned me of his actions. September 27th, 1989. Sue, slut, was written in the locker room. I was told it's okay if an employee wants to write on the walls about management. Don't let these people know this bothers you. Just sit back and ignore it, I was told. October 23rd, 1989. When I went into work, I had been put on lavatory duty as a punishment for my outburst yesterday. Lavs is an easy job, but I feel I should not be punished because of what I did.
Susan was 27 years old when she was killed in 1992, and it's a sad milestone that now she is gone longer than she was here.
Last time I saw Sue was my 50th birthday, and my husband took us all into a restaurant in Boston, and she was never on time for certain things, but across the calendar she put, I was on time. And of course, when you get there and we had dinner, they start talking, my 3 children, about things that they did that you weren't supposed to know. But we had a wonderfully, and that was the last time. So I am very grateful for that. I mean, as sad as it is, I am just so glad that it was on such a special day.
Marlene is a strong, resilient woman, and she's really the only consistent kind of investigator on the case. I mean, it has switched hands several times within the Massachusetts State Police Department, and sources are telling me now that federal investigators are looking into the case, so hopefully they have some resources to help it along or bring in a suspect finally.
These people that did this are looking over their shoulder every year because I'm not going anywhere.
One thing Marlene Taraskiewicz wants everyone to know is that she is not giving up until she gets justice for her daughter.
I am a fighter. My daughter was a fighter. They thought they would really get to her and she would quit. But if Susan really wanted something and she really loved what she was doing, you wouldn't get her to quit. And that's the sad thing. I mean, I'm proud of her for that because, a lot of women have to go through so much on a job. And management, unions, they don't really take care of them like they do the men. But I'm proud that she fought as hard. Women are coming forward and telling what they're going through. It took Susan a long time to do that, and most women didn't do that. But now they are, and I'm so proud that they're doing that because, we're all entitled to do the job you want. As long as you're qualified for it, why not do it? I hope that seeing what Sue went through, now they know just how serious this is and harassment and that, and come forward.
She's going to keep putting pressure on the public to just give up whatever information they have about what happened to Susan and who might have done this. She especially wants everyone to know that there is a reward out there. It's $250,000 to anyone who can provide information that leads to a conviction for Sue's murder. And she's hoping that will incentivize someone to really step forward, even after all these years. Just come forward with any information that you might have, because it could be what law enforcement needs to finally make an arrest. Marlene really just wants to see a resolution, and soon. She's certainly waited long enough, and she wants to be there for the day when this person or people, have to answer for what they did to her daughter. And she doesn't just want them to, pay for their crimes. She wants them to hear how this crime has affected her entire family. I mean, they didn't just take one life. They really took a toll on the entire family.
This is Inside Edition Digital.